Ever walk into a room and just, like, feel the vibe?
Yeah.
You can tell who's anxious, who'd rather be anywhere else, who's, like, feeling super confident.
Yeah.
That's body language, right? It's
Oh,
like the secret language we're all speaking, even if we don't even realize it.
absolutely.
And today, we are cracking the code. We're going to dive deep into how to read body language secrets, to analyzing and speed reading people like a book.
Oh, I love that.
And trust me, you're going to start seeing your everyday interactions in a whole new light.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we communicate without even, like, uttering a single word. It's primal, right? Think about it, long before we had language, like way back when it was just our ancestors roaming around.
Right.
They had to rely on nonverbal cues for survival.
Oh, totally. So it's like our bodies are like hardwired to send and receive these like silent signals.
Exactly.
No wonder it feels so intuitive, right? Like you just
Nope,
kind of
yeah, we pick up on it.
pick up on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even though, we're not dodging saber-tooth tigers anymore,
Right. Thankfully.
those ancient instincts are still shaping how we interact with each other.
So interesting. Okay, so body language, it's in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
But how much of it is universal versus like something that we learn?
Right.
Like, is a smile the same in every single language?
That's where it gets really fascinating.
Okay.
So some expressions, like a genuine smile of joy, that seems to be like hardwired across cultures. You see it, you recognize it no matter where you are.
Right.
But a lot of gestures are actually culturally specific. Like, for example, the thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
Here it's friendly, but in some parts of the world, that's actually really offensive.
That's a good reminder. Like, context is everything.
Absolutely.
But, okay, let's zoom in on the face for a second.
Okay.
It's like the ultimate mood ring.
Absolutely. The face is incredibly expressive.
Yeah.
But, that expressiveness also makes it really easy to manipulate. We learn to fake smiles from a young age. Putting on a good face, even when we'd rather be somewhere else.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm pretty sure I perfected my fake smile, like, back in elementary school.
Right.
Probably with, like, a bad haircut or something.
Exactly. We've all been there.
Yeah.
But how could you tell a genuine smile from one of those polite ones?
Ooh.
The secrets in the eyes.
Wait, really? So it's more than just, like, the mouth curving up?
So much more.
Okay.
A real smile, like a genuine smile of joy, it involves the whole face. You'll see those little crow's feet crinkling in the corners of the eyes.
Yeah.
Eyebrows lifting slightly. It's like a full body experience, even just on your face.
I like that.
But a fake smile, it's all mouth. And it often just feels stiff, unnatural.
But you can clock it from a mile away.
Exactly.
Okay, that's helpful. So what about those really subtle eyebrow raises? Or like, when you see the forehead kind of crinkle up?
Right.
Can we really decode those?
Absolutely. There's actually a whole system for that. It's called Paul Ekman's Facial Action Coding System,
Wow.
or FACS.
FACS. Okay.
Yeah, and it's used by everyone from like animators to security experts.
Wait, really? So they're analyzing every like little twitch and tingle looking for clues?
Exactly.
Tell me more.
So imagine like a suspect who's denying that they even know the victim, right?
Okay.
But when they're shown a picture of the victim, their eyebrows furrow for like a split second. That is a classic micro-expression of recognition.
They've been busted.
Busted.
Wow. So it's like their face betrays their words.
Exactly.
So SACS is basically like a lie detector built into our faces.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a lie detector exactly.
Okay.
But it helps us understand the really subtle ways that our faces betray our true emotions, even when we try to hide them.
Sneaky.
And speaking of subtle,
Okay.
we can't forget about the eyes themselves.
Oh, the eyes. They say the eyes are the window to the soul, right? Okay, let's talk eyes. What can you tell me about the eyes?
Yeah, they really are. And we actually have less conscious control over our eyes than like any other part of our face.
Interesting.
Take pupil dilation, for example.
Okay.
So yeah, our pupils change size with light.
Right.
But did you know that they can also get wider when we're looking at something or someone that we find really appealing?
No way. So it's like my pupils are huge. I'm totally into this, but without having to say it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like an instinct. It's a subtle sign of attraction or interest.
Okay.
But then on the flip side, if you see someone and they're like squinting, or you notice their pupils constricting,
Right.
that can actually be a sign of displeasure, distrust, maybe even a lie.
So pay attention to those pupils, folks. Okay. What about eye contact itself? I feel like there's a lot of like mixed messages out there about eye contact.
Yeah, there are. So strong eye contact can definitely be a sign of confidence. But in some contexts, it can also seem aggressive
Right.
or even threatening.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the classic shifty eyes giveaway.
Right. Like, what are you hiding over there? Yeah, that's always a little bit of a red flag for me.
It can be. It can be a sign of deception.
Okay.
But again, not always. Someone who's avoiding eye contact could just be shy
Sure.
or nervous.
Right. Or from a culture where it's like super rude to make eye contact.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all about like reading those cues in context.
Right. Because a staring contest in one culture might be a polite conversation in another.
Mm.
So much to think about. Okay. Beyond the face.
Yes.
What other like body language hotspots should we be paying attention to?
Let's talk hands.
Okay.
So how someone interacts with objects even can be really telling.
Okay.
Like a gentle touch versus like a really tight grip.
Uh-huh.
That can reveal a lot about their attitude toward that object or even the person that they're with.
Interesting. So how we touch things is part of the conversation too.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And then there's thumb positioning.
Okay.
Thumbs up, thumbs hidden, thumbs out. They all send different signals.
Hmm.
For example, have you ever noticed that someone with their thumbs tucked into their pockets
Yeah.
often looks less confident than someone with their thumbs out?
It's so true. I've never like put that together before, but yeah, like thumbs hidden, insecure.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the classic arms crossed versus open arms posture.
Right.
Generally, open arms suggest approachability,
Right.
openness. Crossed arms can signal defensiveness or a desire to just like create a barrier.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like body language 101. Open arms, come talk to me. Closed arms, back off.
Generally, yes. But again,
Achante.
context is key. Someone might cross their arms simply because they're cold.
Right. Exactly. Not because they're like closed off to the entire world.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to consider the whole picture.
Full whole picture, yeah.
Okay, so we're like body language detectives gathering clues from head to toe.
I love that.
Now, I've heard of this thing called mirroring.
Yes.
What's that all about? It sounds a little sneaky.
No, not sneaky at all.
Okay.
It's actually our brains like naturally trying to build rapport.
Okay.
So we unconsciously mirror the body language of people that we like or that we feel connected to.
You mean like how yawns are contagious?
Exactly. That's mirroring in action.
Huh?
Yeah. Our brains, they process observed expressions
Okay.
and our own expressions in very, very similar ways.
Hmm.
So when we see someone smile, it can actually trigger the same neurons in our brain that fire when we smile.
Wow.
It's like a subconscious way of saying, hey, we're on the same wavelength here.
That's so cool. Like our brains are hardwired for connection.
They are. But here's where it gets a little tricky.
Okay.
We have to be careful not to misinterpret mirroring.
Okay.
Just because someone is mirroring our body language doesn't necessarily mean that, like, they're being genuine. They could be consciously using mirroring as a way to build rapport or even to manipulate us.
Oh, so it's like a double-edged sword.
It can be.
It's a good reminder that we always need to be aware of, like, the potential for, I don't know, like, manipulation,
Yes.
even in really subtle ways. Okay, speaking of tricky,
Yes.
let's talk about those situations where body language isn't so straightforward.
Right.
What happens when someone's words and their body are saying totally different things?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when we have to pay extra close attention to those mixed signals.
Right.
So, for example, someone might say that they're happy, but their facial expression is flat.
Okay.
Their tone of voice is totally flat.
Right.
Or their body is, like, turned away from you.
So it's like they're saying one thing, but their body is singing a completely different tune.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And often, the body language is a more accurate reflection of their true feelings
Interesting.
because it's just harder to consciously control those nonverbal cues, especially when we're, like, under stress or trying to hide something.
So it's like those poker players, right?
Yes.
Who are trying to keep a straight face.
Yes.
But their little tells give them away.
Precisely. And those tells can show up in even more subtle ways, like we talked about microexpressions earlier.
Right.
Those fleeting involuntary movements.
They sound almost impossible to catch.
They can be. They can be. But with practice, you can learn to recognize them.
Okay.
So imagine, like, someone on a date who's trying to appear super confident,
Right.
but their eyebrows betray a flicker of worry,
Uh-huh.
or their lips tighten for, like, the split second.
Right.
These micro expressions, they're like leaks from the subconscious, revealing what's really going on beneath the surface.
Wow, that's like next level stuff. Okay, so we're on high alert for mixed signals
Yes.
and micro expressions.
Yeah.
What else do we need to keep in mind to avoid like totally misreading a situation?
Context is crucial.
Okay.
We can't forget about like individual differences and how they might influence someone's body language.
Right.
Right? So someone's like baseline behavior
Right.
might be different from what we might consider typical.
Okay.
So like a naturally bubbly person, they might use big gestures, lots of eye contact, even when they're not particularly excited.
Sure.
But someone who's like more introverted, they might seem really closed off,
Right.
even when they're perfectly comfortable.
Right. They're just chilling.
Exactly.
So just like we shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
We shouldn't jump to conclusions about somebody based on their body language.
Right.
Without like considering what their usual demeanor's like.
Exactly. And we also can't forget about cultural differences.
Right.
Remember, like, a gesture that's friendly in one culture could be totally offensive in another.
Oh, for sure.
So we got to be mindful of those nuances.
Right. Like you said, context is key.
Yes.
It's like learning a whole new language, but with our bodies instead of actual words.
Right, exactly.
So much to pay attention to. Okay, we've talked a lot about like how to read other people. But what about like flipping the script?
Okay.
Can we use body language to our advantage?
Absolutely. And that's where it gets really empowering.
Okay.
Remember those power poses?
Oh, yeah.
Standing tall, shoulders back, chin up, making direct eye contact.
Love it.
Those postures, not only do they project confidence,
Right.
they can actually boost your own confidence. It's called embodied cognition.
Okay.
The idea that our physical state can actually influence our mental state.
Well, really? So by like, I don't know, standing like a superhero?
Yes.
I might actually start to feel like a superhero.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. Your body language can actually trick your brain into feeling more confident.
That's so cool.
And when you feel confident,
Right.
you come across as more credible, more persuasive, more likable.
Okay, I am all about that superhero stance from now on.
There you go.
But what about likability in general? Can body language make us seem more approachable?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about those like open and welcoming gestures that we talked about, like uncrossed arms, a genuine smile, maybe leaning in slightly when someone is speaking, making appropriate eye contact.
Right.
These all signal that you're engaged, you're interested, and you're receptive to the other person.
So it's like my body is saying, hey, I'm open to this conversation. Let's connect.
Exactly.
Without me even having to like utter a word.
Exactly. And those nonverbal cues can make a huge difference in how people perceive you.
Yeah.
We're naturally drawn to people who seem warm, approachable, genuinely interested in us.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, beyond like confidence, likability, can we use body language to just like feel more comfortable in social situations?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
It's all about self-awareness.
Okay.
So start by just noticing your own body language habits.
Okay.
Do you fidget when you're nervous? Do you avoid eye contact? Once you're aware of those habits, you can start to like replace them with more positive cues.
So it's like breaking a bad habit, but with my body instead of like biting my nails.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Even simple things like paying attention to your posture,
Right.
taking deep breaths can make a big difference. When you stand tall and breathe deeply, you naturally project this aura of calm and self-assurance.
Okay.
And that can really help ease anxiety.
It's like a mini meditation right there in the middle of a party.
Exactly.
Exactly. So power poses for confidence, open gestures for connection,
Yes.
deep breaths for calm. Got it.
Love it.
Now, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't touch on like the potential for deception.
Right.
Because sadly, people can use body language to manipulate others, right?
It's true. It's true. We don't want to become overly suspicious.
Right.
But it's wise to be aware of that potential.
Right.
And we've talked about cues like lack of eye contact or fidgeting, which can sometimes be signs of dishonesty.
Right.
But it's crucial to remember, those cues alone don't equal lying.
Okay.
Context is key.
So like don't jump to conclusions just because somebody is like fidgeting a little bit. They might just be nervous, not necessarily lying through their teeth.
Exactly. Exactly.
Got it.
If you suspect deception, look at the whole picture. Look at their words, their tone of voice, their facial expressions, gestures, and the overall situation. And even then, proceed with caution. It's always better to err on the side of giving people the benefit of the doubt.
Right, right, because sometimes those, like, deceptive cues
Right.
are really just signs of, like, nervousness or discomfort,
Absolutely.
not malice.
Yes.
Okay, so much to remember. What's the, like, key takeaway for our listeners today?
The power of body language, it's a two-way street.
Okay,
It's not just about decoding others.
right,
It's also about understanding and mastering our own nonverbal communication.
right.
By harnessing that power, we can build stronger relationships, we can communicate more effectively,
Right.
and we can just navigate the world with greater confidence and ease.
So well said. We've gone from those subtle shrugs and like side eyes
Right.
to like literally how we can use this knowledge to our advantage. This has been fascinating.
It really has. We've seen that body language. It's more than just a set of signals.
Right.
It's a powerful tool for understanding ourselves and connecting with others on a much deeper level.
Absolutely. So next time you're interacting with someone, pay attention to those nonverbal cues,
Yes.
both yours and theirs.
Yes,
You might be surprised by what you discover.
you might be.
And remember, like any skill, practice makes perfect.
Absolutely.
The more you observe, the more you'll understand. And the more you understand,
Yes.
the more effectively you'll be able to communicate, connect, and navigate this fascinating world of human interaction.
So true.
And on that note,
Yes.
we'll catch you in our next deep dive.
Sounds great.